reconvene to the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7:01 with Blair, Cruz, Gani, Schaefer, and not present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. These proceedings are recorded and may capture images and sounds of those present. Stephanie.
The board met in closed session from 5:30 p.m. to 6:50 p.m. regarding conference with legal counsel existing litigation, conference with legal counsel real property negotiators, student readmission, student discipline matter, public employee discipline dismissal release, conference with labor negotiators ACT and CSEA negotiations, public employee appointment, elementary principal Barbara Bearden, Eagle Canyon Elementary School, effective July 1, 2019, and coordinator secondary curriculum Joseph Duarte, effective July 1, 2019, and public employee performance evaluation superintendent.
At this time, I'd like to invite Mrs. Barbara Bearden, the new principal of Eagle Canyon.
Our Country Springs family, the Eagle Canyon staff and community members for this opportunity to take over for Lori Warner as the new principal of Eagle Canyon Elementary. As one of Lori's former mentees, I am excited to continue the amazing work she and her staff have implemented over the years. I look forward to this new challenge and I can't wait to see what we as a staff will accomplish. More importantly, I'd like to thank my family, because without their unwavering support, there's no way I could chase these dreams. Thank you.
So proud of you, Mrs. Bearden. I gave you a thumbs up years ago, huh? Yeah. Okay. Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is our great Chino councilman, Mr. Hargrove.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can we please all stand, place our right hands over our hearts, and ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to invite Tom Adams from School Portraits, and we have a good news from him. Thank you.
Button over here.
So, my name's Tim Adams. I'm with School Portraits. Thanks for having us tonight. I'm here to present the proceeds from the golf tournament. I get to come up here and stand in front of you guys and do a lot of really good things and hand out money and say all the nice things, but there's a big team behind me, people I want to thank. My wife Sally, she's the one that kind of makes this thing happen. So she's not here tonight, but I want to acknowledge her and say thank you to her. There's some folks that this wouldn't be possible unless we had our sponsors, our local businesses, big and small, from restaurants to some of the big corporations that support the school district. Our amazing schools and employees that we work with. The staff at the schools have always been supportive in terms of the donations and the baskets and all the stuff and time and energy that they put into our golf tournament. They don't get enough credit, and they're the ones that make this work. School board for allowing us to do this. This is our 10th year, so this is an amazing event, and I'll go into details about the event if you don't know about it. But the golfers that come out and kind of beat up the golf course, some of you know who you are, Mr. Mackesy. Some guys are really good. But this year we decided to change the name of the golf tournament to the Julie Coben Memorial. And so I want to thank you guys for allowing us to do that. I think this was near and dear to her heart. And, sorry. expect that. Good thing this isn't on. Julie is one of my most favorite people. She was one of the kindest people I ever met. Selfless and right. So we want to thank the Gobin family for allowing us to do this. I'm going to stop talking. So we run a business in town here, and we're fortunate enough to be able to take pictures of your students and your kids. And in business, we use metrics to check our success. And so one of the cool things about the golf tournament is there's a metric to it, right? And so it started out 10 years ago, and it was a fun event. I thought, it'd be great to kind of get involved with it. And then it's grown into this thing. And so the cool thing about it, and the metrics that I'm very proud of, is year to date we've raised over $275,000 that we've given to the students of Chino Valley. So that's take credit for that, but that's a community effort, and that's what I love about where we live. So that's over just under 200 high school senior scholarships have been given out in 10 years. And this year we had 27 recipients from the 5 local high schools. So I hope if you guys will allow me to continue to do this, we'd love to be a part of it. This year we raised, can we see that? This year we're presenting to the school board a $28,712.47 check. So if you guys will accept it, and my assistant here today is Emily Adams. She's a born kindergarten through 12th grade Chino Valley student. Now is working in our production manager at our facility here locally. So thank you, Emily, for helping out. This is for you guys. I don't know where to leave this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Allowing us to do this, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Dr. Enfield.
Tim, I want to thank you and Sally for all the work that you do for this golf tournament. I mean, imagine that somebody comes to the district and says, hey, can we take on that task? And we were like, absolutely. And putting on a golf tournament, I don't know if people realize there is a lot of work that goes behind that. And you guys for the last 10 years have done a phenomenal job in putting everything on. We just show up and we have a good time there. But again, I think it's a testament to you and your wife, Sally, because you give back to our district. Like you said, this year, 27 students will get a $1,000 scholarship.
Yep.
It doesn't pay for their full college, but I mean, any little bit will help them.
Yep.
And again, it's really the heart of this community of giving back, and you guys do a great job. And we truly, truly appreciate everything that you do, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you. We appreciate it, and we're happy to do it. So
Thank
we
you.
appreciate every one of you guys.
Yeah, I'd like to also echo Dr. Enfield said. Thank you for being with us for such a long time and helping out our students. And I also like to thank again to Julie Gobin. I just miss her for a while, but I know I get to see her again. And this is what happens with our school district. People who's been here or not with us, they're still with us helping our children.
Yep.
This is what makes a perfect family. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Now we are at comments from employee representatives. Brenda Walker is absent, so no comments today. Dan Hernandez is not here.
Be on vacation.
Tom Mackesy, I see him. Yeah, you better say something. You have a whole hour to speak now.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you better start that timer, because, no. On behalf of CHAMP, this is Renee Ramsey, and she is the president-elect of CHAMP. So she'll be taking over for me when I'm gone, I think, right? Yeah, she's hoping not too soon, but anyway. Champ every year provides scholarships to members' children and other people. And this year, we have 3 people that we're presenting checks to, and 2 of them weren't able to make it, but we have for Isabella Brenis' daughter, we have from Chino Hills High, we have a check for her. She is not able to come here. Valeria Montes, who as you know, got a check from the scholarship from AXA, and so we are also excited to present her a scholarship check. And finally, Steve Buss, his daughter, come on up here. She's able to come here. Alexis, come on up, and she is also getting a scholarship from Champ. You want to say anything? I know you said something the last time. She also got a scholarship from AXA too. So do you want to say anything? Like, just remind them where you're going to school and things like that?
I'll be attending San Jose State in the fall, and I would like to thank the board and my parents.
And finally, on behalf of Champ, we've had a really good year, I think, in our district this year, and it relates to all the employee groups. It relates to ACT, CSEA, and the management personnel, and everybody behind the scenes. So we'd just like to thank you for a great year, and Champ is excited to continue on and take a few days off. I think we get a few days off, and so after that, we'll be hard back at work. So thank you all for everything, and I did not play as badly. I got a trophy one time when Scott, and it said, worst golfer, I think.
I would like to also acknowledge the parents. Could parents stand up? You guys are awesome. Thank you. We're now at community liaisons. I guess I see Mr. Hargrove from City of Chino.
Well, good evening again, Board. I'm not your liaison, Mark Lucio is, but again, unfortunately for him, he has a job and gets stuck in traffic, so good for him. So there's a couple things going on in the city. I'll update you real quick. I just kind of got a little list together. One is tonight, actually going on right now till 7:30, so we won't be able to make that, but is the Monte Vista Park workshop that's going on there. Intention there is to upgrade the park. As you know, there are a lot of things, the splash pad that are going in, but we're designing the teen center there that's going to be going in. So they're showing some conceptual designs tonight, and hopefully in the near future that'll get funded and move forward. So, and then secondary to that is June 8th. We invite anybody that's interested to attend another workshop from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Central Avenue in Phillips. There's a site up there about 1.5 acres that the city's intending to either build a park or some type of facility there. They're looking for community input to see what the community would like to see there. So it's really kind of open for anything you might look for. There's, as you can imagine, there's all kinds of ideas out there to what they'd like to turn that property into. And then lastly, I'll mention, because it's summer, June 14th begins the Chino Summer Nights movies on the lawn over at the City Hall. So we invite anybody. It's free admission there from June 14th to July 26th. I believe it's Friday nights. And the fun, I'll read what it says. Family fun activities start at 6:30. Movies begin at dusk. Bring a lawn chair and a blanket. Food and retail vendor booths will be there. And then if you go on our webpage, cityofchino.org, it gives a list of what movies will be available. So it's free to anybody in the city or anybody outside of the city to attend. Other than that, thank you very much for your time. And
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. We're now at comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. Stephanie, are there any requests to speak?
Yes, Mr. President, there are 5 non-agenda items.
Speakers will be called in order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind the board typically does not respond to comments during this time, as it is reserved for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. Additionally, board does its best to support the public rights to address the elected officials. It is also important that board conduct its business in an orderly and fair fashion, as provided board by law 9323. In the event that an unusual amount of speaker cards be submitted for any item, the board will hear up to 30 minutes of comments. In the case of non-agenda items, the board can, if it chooses, hear the remainder of comments after all business has been conducted. Mr. Cruz.
Speakers, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Begin at the green light. Yellow light means 30 seconds left. The red light means time is over. Audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, bylaws of the board meeting conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes, total for all remarks, and please limit remarks to new points. The board would like to remind you that Board Policy 1312.1 contains the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. Please follow that procedure. No speaker shall exceed the 3-minute limit. We now have 7 speaker cards, and the first speaker is James Houston, followed by Tricia Cawley, followed by Michael Chu.
Good evening, board members and superintendent. Thank you for your time. My name is James Houston. I live in Chino Hills. I am 11 years old and a 5th grader at Allegiance STEAM Academy. I am founder and president of our school's ABKA. ABKA stands for Allegiance Be Kind Association. I would like to explain why I created the ABKA. Many other classmates do not have the same interests as me. Most kids carry backpacks. I carry a leather briefcase. Most kids read Diary of the Wimpy Kid, while I study history. On free dress days, most kids wear t-shirts and I wear a tie. Our differences caused many kids to treat me unkindly before they got to know me. When I came home that day, I told my parents about how the kids were treating me, and they asked, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to get these kids to understand you? I thought about the question and realized I can help our school focus on being kind to everyone, no matter how different they are to you. Everyone needs more kindness. With the support of my parents, school principal, teachers, and a couple of friends, the ABKA was created. We are a completely student-run organization. Principal Cognetta and our teachers are very supportive and advise us during hard decision-making moments. We now have 2 ABKA representatives in each class, grades 2 through 8. Reps are elected by their peers in their class. We meet weekly and come up with ways to spread kindness throughout our school. We work together to problem-solve situations. Our goal is to make our school a better place. I am here tonight to suggest a Chino Valley Be Kind Association be formed for our entire district. I would like to see every school in our district have its own student-run BKA. I would like to suggest that instead of focusing on the word bully so much, we focus more on the word kindness. Superintendent, I would like to sit down with you when you have a moment to go over my plans for the CVBKA. Thank you all for your time.
Tricia Cawley, followed by Michael Chu, followed by Lynn Liu.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you again. Well, since we last saw you, bingo and general boosters have been going strong. Through the bingo program, we've been able to generate almost $1 million in gross revenue this fiscal year, with our net income being roughly $180,000.
Hold on just a minute. The timer wasn't restarted for you.
Mr. Cruz.
Sorry about that.
We good? Thank you. Our net income being $180,680. Of that $180,000, $124,639, or roughly 70%, has been donated back to Chino Hills High School. On top of our usual bingo donations to our clubs and sports teams, we've been able to provide equipment for our PE classes. We donated funds for equipment to our athletic training department. We continue to purchase snacks and juice for our nurse's office to be used for our diabetic students. For the graduating class of 2019, we were able to help many of our graduating seniors participate in their senior activities by buying tickets to prom, senior trip, and grad night. This year, the General Boosters sponsored the senior breakfast. We also sponsored Huskies grad night and provided a senior gift for all seniors in attendance, spending approximately $3,500. The General Booster board members chaperoned this overnight activity. Currently, in the month of June, we will be donating over $3,000 to our sports teams and clubs, as well as awarding over $5,500 in senior scholarships that were just announced on May 22nd. In addition, we've been given the opportunity to sponsor our academic decathlon team. We'll be purchasing their curriculum, practice tests, and assist with purchasing matching spirit wear for their 20 students, and approximately $3,500. With the help of the district auditor, we've been able to implement some new procedures, as well as confirm procedures that were already in place. According to the auditor's latest report, General Booster Club is in compliance with all sections of the improvement plan. I'm really proud of that part. As the General Booster Treasurer, I will continue my term through the end of the 2019-20 school year, so all procedures put in place will remain unchanged. The current General Booster Board, along with our newly elected president, Brian Galley, have been putting together policy and procedure notebooks to confirm that all knowledge gained in this time continues long past the current board members. The Chino Hills High General Booster has made many changes, and we have implemented every new procedure asked of us. We believe we have done everything requested and more. With this, we request that the General Boosters be allowed to continue the bingo fundraiser through the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Chu, followed by Lim Lin, followed by Dr. Sebastian.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Michael Chu, and I come here to speak for over 100 parents who are holding this. Right. Okay. I've spent time to review the California Health Framework. As a parent, I have realized that sex education is completely intolerable, and I would never wish for my kids and any other children to be provided these ignorant teachings. I understand that this is legal for two individuals to perform sexual interactions without love in between them, and it's illegal to neglect the duty of responsibility and commitment upon raising a family. I know it's legal to give away your own baby if you don't want them, and I know it's legal to abort a baby as long as the baby is under 4 months old inside the mother. However, as an educator and as parents, we do not promote such idea to our next generation. Pursuant to California Education Code 51937, parents and guardians have the ultimate responsibility and important value regarding to human sexuality for their children. It is common knowledge that no type of condom can fully guarantee protection against pregnancy and sexual transmitted disease. Therefore, sex should be a serious topic for all people, as it may result in an unpleasant and unprotected responsibility to raise a child, and it will cost an estimated $220,000 to raise a baby to 18 years old. Sexually transmitted diseases are also usually cannot be cured and sometimes lead to death. When teachers educate children on how to use condom to enjoy sex, they must also recognize that 1 out of 50 female students will become pregnant. As parents and educators, when we give sex education to our children, we must also teach children about responsibility, the mental and health damage caused from an abortion, and teach children about value of life. You do not teach children to give away their own baby, and refuse to inform their parents or loved ones during the abortion, and continue to experience all variety of abnormal or typical intercourse positions, and proceed to have multiple abortions. Our children are our next generation, and the disgusting teaching involved in sex education simply should not be ignored. Our children should be loved and cared for, and it's obviously an ignored decision to allow a school to feed them destructive information that will do nothing but devastate their brilliant futures. So my question tonight is it too much to ask to just give a little attention and concern to the ones that they...
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Lim Lin, followed by Dr. Sebastian, followed by Catherine Osman.
Good evening. Chino Valley Unified School District Board member and Mr. Superintendent. My name is Liu Lin, and I am Chino Hill resident, and I am also a parent with the 2 kids at elementary school age. And I have performed some research on sexual orientation, gender identity, and transgender. They're very complicated issues and even confuse many experienced, licensed medical doctors. After the California Health Education Framework was approved by the state, America's first sexual non-binary individual, Jamie Shoup, born as a male, was legally judged by the court and medically identified as neither male nor female. He stated that his transgender and 2 different gender identities were all a sham, a fantasy that the transgender community lured him to believe in. Jamie Shoup concluded in his statement, 2 fake gender identities couldn't hide the truth of my biological reality. There is no third gender or third sex. Like me, intersex people are either male or female. Their condition is the result of a disorder of sexual development, and they need help and compassion. And the victim of this story is Jamie's family and the American taxpayer like us. There is plenty of evidence confirming that school teachers with no professional medical knowledge and experience and no medical license are unquestionably not to guide our children to explore and experiment different gender identities and sexual orientations. They have no medical professional experience to identify gender, no confirming students, or identify genders and the sexualities of students based on their color and toy preferences. The California Health Education Framework is not medically accurate and should be carefully reviewed by licensed professionals first. That is why I'm standing here to represent part of this, the parents' body. We request that the Chino Valley Unified School District release the district health education curriculum to all parents and not to damage our next generation. Again, we will keep our eyes open wide and check with the school district and the board members attentively, because we strive to assure our next generation the best they can have and the best they can be. Thank you very much for your time.
Dr. Sebastian, followed by Catherine Osman, followed by Jennifer Zahn.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Enfield, staff. It's nice to see you again. Martin, great to see you again. Congratulations on the completion of another academic year. I stand before you tonight as a proud member of public education in Chino Valley, having been a part of the community now for nearly a year. I'm also here to express gratitude, share a little bit about our school, and support our fellow Wolf, James Houston. Thanks to James, who ensured that we would fly the flag at half-mast today to honor those who served 75 years ago on D-Day. James understands. Yeah, James understands. James understands the importance of that pivotal moment in our nation's as well as the world's history. Thank you, James. Tip, Dr. Enfield, ask him for the agenda and questions ahead of time because they're thorough, they're hard-hitting. You're going to want to be prepared for that meeting. Yeah. So a little over a year ago, Dr. Enfield, former Superintendent Joseph, and I met, and Mr. Joseph looked me in the eyes and said, there's a lot that needs to happen to open this school. Will it happen in time? I was 22 years old when he asked that question. So there you go. But here we are. That was funnier in my head because I look 30 years older than 22. So today we find ourselves a week out from celebrating our first promoting 8th grade class before they embark upon the great programs awaiting for them at Ayala, at Don Lugo, Chino, and Chino Hills. There have been hiccups along the way, which isn't too surprising when you're building a plane while flying it, as we like to say. But together we've accomplished quite a bit. Collectively, we set out to open a school by families that would reflect the community we serve. Thanks to our efforts, Allegiance looks like the community today. A little bit of data I've shared with several of you. Chino Valley is approximately 56% Hispanic. Allegiance is 60% Hispanic. Chino Valley is 3.3% black, 3.6% at ASA, 16% white, 17% white at ASA. Similar data for the Asian demographic at 16.5% in the district, 17.3% at our school. Lastly, special education. A little higher than 12% in the district, and we're approaching 14% at our school. So as you can see, we set out to look like the community, and within the first year together, we're getting really close to doing that. I'm proud of that, and proud of all of us for accomplishing that. Lastly, we acknowledge that charters are a polarizing topic. That's why it's imperative for everyone to know us. We are working hard daily to earn the reputation as a public school for all families. We're going to continue. We're committed to doing that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Catherine Osmond, followed by Jennifer Zhao, followed by Callie Wu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about technology and the use of screens. I think it has gotten out of control in two respects. It has addicted our population and is harming the learning of our kids. George Orwell wrote of Big Brother watching us in 1984. That is the book that he wrote in 1984. Today, 90% of us are willingly surveilled upon because we're addicted to our cell phones. Cell phone addiction is right there in the Blue Book of mental illnesses next to drug addiction. Schools should be helping prevent this, but instead we say, no, nothing wrong. We're going to teach more and more with technology, smart boards on all the classrooms, etc. In actuality, there is a lot wrong with technology and kids. The American Society of Pediatrics says that no screens should be before a child before age 2 because babies need to learn language from human faces to learn the social cues and other things. The National Institute of Health has just started in 2018 a study of 12,000 kids in the early grades. Early results say that spending hours a day with screens in front of them leads to the thinning of the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain for sensory perception, in other words, learning. Parents are starting to complain about the 2 hours a day that we are using with computers, like in grade 3. I heard that was what the plan was for next year. At Back to School, I tell parents, no screens this year if you can manage it, except for whatever we have to do for our lessons. Some parents take me more or less at my word, others don't. In the fall, I can look at a class and tell them all kinds of things, and then in a few minutes they come up and ask me questions that show me they haven't heard anything I said, even though they were looking straight at me. By spring, I can tell which kids are still on screens and which ones are not. The ones that are not can do great things, like the 4-page creative story in front of the board members. This was in our Cinderella unit, and we were looking at Cinderella in different cultures and then fractured fairy tales, and now this child wrote her own version, which we read nothing like it, and 4 pages closely written. We've also done science fair projects at the agriculture fair and won prizes. Even though there isn't a category for 2nd grade, you have to be in 3rd or 4th to enter. And we've done Shakespeare and all kinds of great things. I'd like to see less technology emphasis, just using it for a tool, none at all in the grades kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, and then sparingly, not more than 2
Thank you.
hours. Thank you.
Jennifer Zhao, followed by Kali Wu.
Superintendent, President, Vice President, members of the school board, and parents, good evening. My name is Jennifer, and I'm a parent and a citizen of residents of Chino Hills. And I'm here to ask for parental right to instill my children with traditional family value instead of having the state of California to indoctrinate my children with the teaching from the CSE materials in the public school that promote sexual perversions and even abortion without the knowledge of the parents. I don't believe that by teaching our children to experience sex with many people will be healthy and good for them. In fact, that it will increase their danger to all kinds of sexual disease and will scar them emotionally and affect their normal teenager years when the focus should be on developing them academically as well as living a healthy lifestyles. Statistics show that having a natural marriage will lengthen lifespan of a man and woman, but sexual relationships with numerous partners, including homosexual behaviors, result in health problems such as AIDS and STDs, colon and rectal cancer, and hepatitis, according to the Center for Disease Control. Moreover, the suicidal rate among transgender is 50%, according to a study done by UCLA. So I'm very concerned that the CSE, the Comprehensive Sexual Education, is trying to promote sexual pleasure lessons among males, female and females, and etc., and normalize abnormal sexual behaviors, such as anal sex, or teaching anal sex to our children as a way to avoid pregnancy, but it will increase the risk for AIDS. So these types of teaching are actually a exploitation and lies to our children and teens by teaching them behaviors that would be unacceptable in our media or TV networks, but the children will be exposed to these materials at school. So tolerance of CSE is in living, and it's evil because it allows our children to be harmed. And the majority of the parents and teachers and students do not consent to such a curriculum. And so I'm here to request that the school board will not implement CSE materials in our school district next year or ever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kali Wu.
大家好，我中文不好，然后现在我只是简单的讲述一下我对这个性教育问题。
Okay, she said she doesn't speak very good English, so but that's her right to talk. So she asked me to be her translator.
我很害怕我的那个小 baby， 他现在还特别喜欢我的高跟鞋，我怕他以后接触性教育以后，他会选择女性。
She have a lot of concern, especially her little kids. Even though he's a boy, but now he start to like high heel shoes. That's, now she's really concerned the environment. Maybe in fact her kids will become a girl someday.
所以我很担心，如果学校教给他这些东西的话，我可能需要付出很大的努力去告诉他他是男生。
If the college, if the school environment would give him all the information that he could possibly be a girl, and then for her it's very difficult to tell him the truth that actually he's a boy.
而且呢，就是说我还有一个大的孩子，男孩子。如果他在性教育的课程上是有看一些个视频的话，我想就是跟我们成人在网上看到的那些性视频也没有什么区别。
And then she have another kid is almost going to 7th grade, and then she heard about if possible, her son will explore to some pornography. It's the same as the adult things. That's what she really worried about.
我们成年人看那些个就是说性的视频，都有一些，如果男女共同看，或者是大家一起看，都很尴尬。那如果是小孩看那样的视频，我不知道他们会以后产生更残酷的一些学习的方式，去学习那些方式。
She worried a lot about all the pornography, even for adults. Even boys and girls or men and women sit in the same room to watch together is so embarrassing. And then she couldn't imagine if it happened to her younger son, what damage will to his mind.
所以我就是不想让我的小孩子过早的去学这些东西，也不想我的大孩子能够过早的接触各种性方式，我只是让他学正常的生理知识就可以了。
She concerned a lot because all this education will be too early to her kids, especially for the older one. It's definitely too early to learn all those things for her son.
而且我希望就这种教育方式不要延迟到以后，因为对于我们孩子的未来，我很担忧。
She thought school board should take action as soon as possible because she's so worried about the coming school year. They are going to apply the new curriculum.
谢谢
Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually,
Thank you.
I'm children ministry. My church is here, so that's why so many Chinese they just concerned recently until they didn't know it until in Chinese media. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we are at changes and deletions. Stephanie, are there any changes or deletions?
The following changes and deletions are on the agenda. Item 3A2, 2019 Senior Scholarship Recipients has been yellow sheeted.
Okay. Next. Recommend the Board of Education consider the applicants and appoint one district representative to the City of Chino Community Services Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2020. Are there any speakers?
There are none.
May I have a motion? Mr. Cruz.
I move to appoint Robert Martinez as the representative, having been a long resident of Chino and an active member, as well as a public service for LAPD. He will serve the district well.
I second that motion. Comments and questions?
I have
Yes, Mr. Schaefer.
before we deliberate at all, are any of the applicants here? I'd like to hear from them if they're here and are willing to make any comments. Makes it
No.
easier.
Okay. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So passes 4-1.
Item 2A2, Resolution 2018-19-43, Board Compensation for Missed Meeting of May 2nd, 2019 for Irene Hernandez Blair.
Recommend the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2018/2019-43, Board Compensation for Missing Meeting of May 2nd, 2019 for the Irene Hernandez Blair. Are there any speakers?
There are none.
May I have a motion? Mr. Schaefer?
Oh, that may
Oh.
have been earlier, I think. Did you
No.
push a button?
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Schaefer, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gagne. Any comments and questions?
I do,
Yes.
Mr. Knott.
Okay, Ms. Blair.
I understand that last year, during some of the meetings that I missed, our local newspaper reported, I guess it was a dry weekend of news events, but just like any other individual, things happen in life. But for anyone to believe that the work that any elected official does is only at the two meetings that we attend, whether it be here at the school board or city council or fire districts, there's work that is done before the two meetings. And so I am going through a situation that I didn't think that had to be brought forward. There are just things that happen. And my priority has to be my son. And so there will be missed meetings. And so I hope that everyone understands and realizes that I'm not milking taxpayer dollars. I am a taxpayer. I was a homeowner paying property taxes. I work full-time for Los Angeles County, and I have proudly for 28 years. And so I'm just explaining all this, not because there is a need to, but because I want to make it clear that it is a necessity. And so I would appreciate the support of the board. And if there isn't, that I'm okay with that too. But I just want to put to rest any thoughts, even as employees, you know, we're entitled to sick days and family days. And so it's just things that happen. And so I appreciate all of you for supporting me through all this, and I hope that it'll be over soon. Thank you.
I have a comment for Mrs. Blair, as I do with students. You know, for me, we're parents too, and there's things happen with our children, and when we miss schools for our kids, usually adults would ask questions whether it's excused or not excused absence, and I would usually ask one, was person had illness, caught a flu or sick, or family emergencies. That would be my second question. So, Ms. Blair, will you qualify that one of these would fit your?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Then I'll support support Ms. Blair on her excused absence at this minute. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
One abstention.
One abstention. Passes 4 and 1 abstention.
Thank you.
Item 2B1, public hearing regarding the 2019-2020 budget.
Recommend the Board of Education conduct a public hearing regarding 2019/2020 budget. I now open the public hearing at 7:49 p.m. Are there any speakers?
There are none.
I now close the public hearing at 7:49 p.m. Okay, yes.
Item 2C1, public hearing regarding the local control and accountability plan.
Recommend the Board of Education conduct a public hearing regarding the local control and accountability plan. I now open the public hearing at 7:49 p.m. Is the clock stuck in 7:49? Yeah. Are there any speakers?
There are none.
I now close the public hearing at 7:49 p.m. Yeah, it is stuck. Okay.
Item 2D1, final facilities memorandum of understanding between Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy Thrive Charter School.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the final facilities memorandum of understanding between Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEM Academy Thrive Charter School. Are there any speakers?
There are none.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. And is this Mr. Schaefer?
It is.
You have a comment?
Yeah, as soon as we're started, whenever you're ready, yes.
Okay, now. Yes.
Dr. Enfield, in reading through this, it looked like this was for the 2019-2020 school year. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is this an annual, something that's going to come before us annually then?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
I have a comment. I love students, and especially I'm so proud of James Houston. I'll remember your name for a long time. Your first name, I mean. Thank you and appreciate you, and I'd like to appreciate the mother too of being with your son and being very emotional about talking about kindness. So thank you for your support. So we had motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We're now at consent items. Stephanie, are there any speakers?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay, board members, you have any polls? Mr. Cruz?
No polls.
No polls. Mrs. Blair? No polls. Mrs. Gagne?
No polls.
Mr. Schaefer?
Well, I'm going to take some of theirs then. But actually, I do. Item A, 3A2, page 47. Item 3B2, page 50. And item 3C4, page 65.
For the remainder of consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair, seconded by Mrs. Gagne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. So, we need a motion for Mr.
382.
382.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Gagne. 382. Mr. Schaefer, page 47.
Yeah, we had the presentation by Adams Photography earlier, and I thought it was important to just go ahead and acknowledge the students that received the scholarships from the district that benefited from the golf tournament. And so I'm just going to, alone, I guess, go through and read the names of the recipients. It should just take a second. From Ayala High School, we have, and I apologize if I butcher your name in advance. From Ayala High School, we have Serbi Dahlia and Lauren Liu, Corey Densley, Brittany Mays, Madison Moneymaker, and Shayona Shaw. From Buena Vista, we have Yvonne Gloria Cervantes, Julian Ramos, and Matthew Mendoza. From Chino High School, Mark Calvario, Janice Hugues, Eric Chavez, James Nucci, Marissa Gonzalez, and Ingrid Soria. From Chino Hills High School, Andrew Chin, Maya Desai, Kristen Maris Nino, Jusok Yu, Madison Lauren, and Megan Thompson. And from Don Lugo, Sophie Nguyen, Mariana Pena, Brissa Gomez, Leslie Sierra, Elizabeth Cazares, and Audrey Nunez. I applaud each of them for going through the process of putting in, applying for these scholarships, and congratulate them on their recipients.
Absolutely.
Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Next item, I need a motion.
So moved for 3B2.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Blair, seconded by Mrs. Gagne. Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, I
Page
just wanted
50.
for clarification.
It's a gnat.
Oh,
It's
thank
for
you.
your coffee.
Just for clarification, I wanted to make sure that we understand that this is just the approval of the organization, correct, Dr. Enfield? Not any specific fundraiser?
That's correct.
Okay.
And it allows them to do other fundraisers throughout the year.
And specific fundraisers will come up before us as needed, I guess?
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I had on this item.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposes? Passes 5-0. Next item, 3C4, need motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair, seconded by Mrs. Gagne. Page 65, Mr. Schaefer.
This deals with the number of instruction days for multi-track year-round schools. Dr. Enfield, I just want to confirm, though, that this is instruction days only, that the number of instruction days does not in any way predicate the amount of resources or support services that they receive?
You know, I'm going to have to refer that question to Mrs. Chin. I don't believe, but I want to make sure that we're talking about ADA funding, correct, on this? Because we reduce the number of school days, does the district get less funding because of that?
And will that result in a reduced amount of services or support services?
It wouldn't reduce the support that we provide.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't know about the funding question.
And it will not affect the resources that we receive either.
Okay.
From the state.
I just want to make sure though that the support services and supplies and budget and everything they get is not based on the number of instruction days.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. We're now at information. Stephanie, are there any speakers?
There are none.
None. Communications. Mr. Schaefer. Communications.
Communications already, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
It's already
First-
7:56.
Thanks. First, I'd like to commend James, Mr. Houston, for your actions and for your courage to step out and to do something when you saw an injustice. I applaud you for that, and please keep going and doing what you're doing. Okay, one voice can make a difference. To, I believe it was Mr. Chu and some of the other folks that spoke on sex ed. I'm not sure where some of the information's coming from, and I know the state has put out a new framework. Please know the framework is not a mandate, so to speak. The district has just concluded a parent advisory committee for our new sex ed curriculum, and I can guarantee you, I have read through the notes of those meetings, and none of the stuff that you guys are concerned about was present in the minutes of those meetings. The curriculum the new curriculum will be coming before us, I believe, June or July, the next meeting?
I think in July.
In July. It's a very conservative approach to what the state wants us to impart as part of sex ed. Okay, they give us a range of things to choose from, and our district takes a very conservative approach. The curriculum is available for view at the school site that's going to be teaching the curriculum, as well as the district office. Okay, so you can see what your child is going to be taught in those classes. There's also, and there always has been and continues to be, a parental opt-out. If you choose to not have your child participate in the sex ed curriculum, you can opt them out of that portion of the curriculum. So that option remains. If you guys have any questions on that, please feel free to get a hold of me. I'd be happy to meet with you outside of a meeting here to kind of explain the process a little more. I know it can be bothersome and it can be worrisome for you, but I'd be more than happy to do my part in trying to explain the approach that the district's taking. Okay. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of our class of 2019 graduates from our high schools. I was honored to be able to participate in all of the graduation ceremonies, and I do say it was an honor. It was great to see the pride and the excitement from the families and the graduates. And so as they move on to either college or career or the military, I wish them all the best. I'd also like to congratulate those students who participated in promotions, either from 6th grade to junior high or from junior high to high school. I was also able to attend the adult school graduation, and it was a very nice ceremony. We had 4 different groups of folks. We had some folks that went back and finished their high school diplomas. We had a group of folks that completed their GED requirements. We had some folks that finished their ESL, or English as Second Language certificates, and we also had some folks that finished the citizenship courses. And so I congratulate all of them. And I would like to thank Briggs for inviting me to their promotional ceremony. It was a very nice ceremony. As far as committee reports, Baldy View ROP, it was just announced that our assistant superintendent, Dr. Forrest Dorenzo, has accepted a position with Riverside County, and so he will be leaving us. And so Baldy View is currently in the process of trying to recruit a new assistant superintendent. We also had some money come back from one of the participating districts. They couldn't use money for modernization in one of their buildings, and so that money came back to Baldy View, and we're in the process of looking at potentially adding another modular building to the current training facility to house administration so that we can get everybody on one site. The Chino Hills Parks and Recreation Commission, nothing to report this meeting. Because of Concerts in the Park series that start middle of June and run through the first part of August, they have moved their June and July meetings from the third Wednesday to the third Thursday. So I will not be able to attend those in June and July because they fall on our board meeting nights. That concludes my comments. Thanks and have a great evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Gagne?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to thank all of the parents that came here tonight and other individuals to express concerns. I have some comments related to some of those concerns, but before I get there briefly, I represent this board to our local Chamber of Commerce, and I just want to cite that there are two upcoming events. One is the annual charity golf fundraiser on June 24th, and also the Chino State of the City address, which is going to be on June 26th. So I just wanted to cite those, and hopefully everyone can participate. I'm pretty new to this board, but having sort of seen things online and come to meetings prior to being on the board, something that I see happen in this district again and again, and I am from this area, so I appreciate when the community is driving projects or the community is driving initiatives, and I don't appreciate when outside groups come into this community and try to drive misinformation. And this district has continually been in a cycle of people getting riled up for misinformation, which I think is really unfortunate because it upsets a lot of people and it causes unnecessary strife. And so I do want to speak about what this district is doing with the California Healthy Youth Act. There has been a group going around Southern California spreading misinformation. The reason I know this is I went to Western Christian High School. I'll repeat, Western Christian High School. And I had many of my fellow alumni reach out to me and wonder why our curriculum was so salacious, why our curriculum was pornographic. And I stopped very immediately saying, well, it's not. Because first of all, our curriculum is still undergoing development. And I want to explain the process through which this district went through, because there is not a mandated curriculum that we all must use. At a community level, we get to make decisions about what is in that curriculum. Every single member of this board got to appoint someone to that committee to work with the school district to create the curriculum. And just as diverse as are the opinions of this board on this issue, so too are those members. I personally put out applications. So anyone who wanted to serve on our own sex ed advisory committee could have simply filled out an application. I advertised this over social media. I picked someone that I had no affiliation with that had ties to the school district. I don't know how everybody else ran their process, but from the composition of who I saw on that board, it's a fairly diverse group of people. I, like Mr. Schaefer has noted, have reviewed those minutes. I've reviewed the slides. I've reviewed some of the potential curriculum. It is in no way pornographic. It is in no way reflects some of the comments that were made here this evening. And I do appreciate that this is being recorded right now, and I really appreciate that person would identify themselves in the organization that they're from. But I want to be very clear that you can opt out of the curriculum. That has been something that has not been adequately communicated by these outside groups to parents, and that's what troubles me. You have every right to make a decision of what your child experiences. That is your decision, that is your right. So you can opt out. So I do want to say that, and I want to make that very clear because this issue keeps coming back to what the curriculum is or isn't going to be. First of all, that curriculum will be on public view very soon. Any community member can give feedback on that curriculum. So we do not right now have a predetermined curriculum. Two, if you want to opt out, you can opt out. And I'm just saying these things because, and this is regardless of what my beliefs on this issue are, I just keep seeing misinformation in this community, and I keep seeing people get upset. I've met with many parents on this matter over the last couple weeks who were very upset, who were visibly shaken, and when we sat down and actually talked about it, they realized what was actually happening in this district. We appreciate this is a little more of a conservative district. Districts in Northern California might be doing something that's totally crazy. That's not our district. Our district is taking a very principled and open approach to the California state guidelines. And when the state of California legislature passes something, whether the district likes it or not, whether the community likes it or not, we still have to implement it. And that's how we end up, if we don't, if we just ignore state mandates and we don't take some attempt to try to comply with the law, that's how we end up in lawsuits. And that's how we end up wasting taxpayer dollars that should be going back into our classrooms and helping students succeed. So I just want to be clear. First of all, the curriculum is going to be introduced. Anyone in the community can talk to me. I'm sure any of the other board members can communicate with the school district their thoughts on the curriculum. It'll be available to the public. You can come back to a public meeting and comment on the curriculum. But there is nothing that is in concrete form right now that can be commented on or can be viewed as pornographic or any other adjectives that I've heard of. And second, this was a community effort. This was not just the school district coming down with a hammer and what that curriculum is going to look like. So I just want to make it clear and make myself open as a resource. I'm happy to address your questions. I'm happy to meet with you. I just personally, and this is not the only issue this happened on, I'm getting a little tired of people who do not live in this community getting people very upset. I think it's very disingenuous, and I also think it's very disrespectful, and it's very dangerous. So I really appreciate the parents that came here tonight who have children in the district. I know it's not easy to come here. I know you are very busy. I know it's hard to get up there and say what you have to say. But I just want to make clear what the facts actually are. Because again, if we can't have factually based conversations, factually based open conversations, we end up getting in these big fights. And there's really no reason in a community this close-knit that happens. Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Blair. You want to do first? Okay, Mr. Cruz wants
Go
to do
ahead.
So, Mr. Houston, so after this is done, you'll see Dr. Enfield after the meeting's done. And then the bingo. You know, the bingo, that you guys have done so much for our school district. So thank you for all the things that you've given to our children. It's pretty good. Thank you very much. And Ms. Altman. Ms. Altman? Osmond? You know, I read the article, and, you know, just the idea that you bring this article gives me, you know, the sensitivity, and you're trying the best that, you know, to help our children. You know, 4,500 and, you know, spending hours a day starting, you know, using smartphones, tablets, and premature thinning of the cortex. So I appreciate that you give this to us, that, you know, that it could be dangerous. Too much of technology can be dangerous for our children. So I thank you. Thank you very much. And then Allegiance, you have a promotion coming, June 13th, 12th at 6 o'clock. Yes. And all you guys that were discussing the sexual issues, I know maybe it'd be a good time, you know, to speak to Dr. Park. But I have to say something, you know, real short and simple. You know, if your gut tells you something, you listen to your gut. And, you know, you always have to be watch and on guard of the things that, you know, you see and that you feel, you know. And I commend that what you guys are doing, because it's you guys that are the wall. Because without that, there's no floor. It'll just go deeper and deeper. So within the school district, you guys make a big difference. So I appreciate that. So thank you. And you know, I attended the adult ed and the retirement. I attended CSEA luncheon, and I tell you, I felt so much love at the luncheon for the CSEA. It was something so special going on there. A lot of good people, and a lot of good people there. And as for the graduation, you know, what I was reflecting with graduation, seeing all the parents, you know, the thing that we can do, and parents, and that is that we could leave a legacy for our children. And that is that we set a path for them, and the values that we set in, that we make a difference in their lives, and they remember of the things that we have done for them. And it's very important to do that, and to leave a legacy. And as for me as a board member, if I have changed one person to, that has made a big difference in this experience that I've had. So, all your parents, you know, we have made a legacy. And with those children that are graduating, we know that they're Generation Z, and so much is talked about these special group of people that, you know, it really does matter to leave a legacy for these children. And what was I going to say? And I'd like to say something. This is very important to me. I want to talk about Martin Luther King, an icon of the 20th century, a great American hero who did extraordinary things, a unifying figure. You know, MLK said, don't judge someone color of their skin, but their character of their deeds. You know, MLK was a racial unifier. His appeal to civil rights wasn't based on hate or race. He was again, a unifying, believed in figuring out, you know, classes, races, gender. Americans should have the same rights and be treated equally. A deeply patriotic American. And I know we should quote more often Martin Luther King, a very heroic individual that died in what he believed in. So we're very grateful for Martin Luther King, of all the things that he has done for us. Thank you.
Mrs. Blair.
I just want to congratulate our almost 2,300 students, our graduates from all of our high schools. There were amazing graduation. The whole event is something that every year I look forward to, and has probably been the greatest reward as a school board member. So congratulations to the students and their families. I want to also, Danny isn't here, but the California School Employees Association held their first car show here in Chino a few weeks back, and they raised over $2,500 for scholarships, and they hope that to be able to continue that. And so it wasn't a bad turnout for their first annual car show. And I'm just going to wrap up what has already been addressed regarding the parents who have concerns regarding the California Healthy Youth Act. And if you go to the California Department of Education website, and I hope you have your pens and video recorders ready, because not only does it emphasize that school boards and school districts are to provide the mandated instruction, it details, there's a Q&A portion to address the concerns. But toward the very end, it states, if you have any questions regarding this subject matter, and here you go, I don't see anybody writing, please contact our coordinator of School Health and Safety Office at 916-319-0914. As a school district and an elected school board, all we can do is apply the curriculum that is mandated. There are some aspects of it that we get to choose. However, this isn't something that we can decide not to implement. And I just know that having gone through the school system in California, I had sex ed in 6th grade. And I think all of us that are here did, and we're okay. Do things have to be changed as time goes on? Absolutely. But we all had sex education. So to explain it as though it's perverted and all of that, I would have to disagree with that. And it shouldn't be scare tactics. It's life, and it should be explained. And if you have concerns, you can opt out. If you have concerns, I'm not going to say, please ask me, because I'm not the expert in the area. Dr. Park is who is entrusted with this subject matter, and that's who should be emailed. If you have general questions, I will gladly answer your general questions. But if you want in-depth about the curriculum, to be honest, it is Dr. Park. And we did have a committee that included parents of the community, and we afforded the open discussion. It was provided, and so maybe you weren't aware that that had taken place, but I believe that the PowerPoints are still available. They can be provided to you, maybe emailed to you. but I think your best go-to would be the California Department of Education, who is overseeing the whole program. And again, the Office of School Health and Safety is at 916-319-0914. Have a good night.
Dr. Enfield.
Well, first I want to thank you, Mrs. Hernandez-Blair, for sending those emails to Dr. Park.
Right, and not to
Thank
you.
Dr. Park has
I want to congratulate our graduates this year. It was a nice couple of days there to celebrate the what we do here as a school district. We're here, a K-12 school district, and that's the culminating activity. So it was very nice. And to the public and to our graduates, I think next week you'll see a video highlighting the graduations and celebrating our students. So when you get a chance, look at some of the social media. We'll be pushing that out for the public to see. Thank you.
Okay, my final comments. First, I'd like to have two individuals stand up, James Houston and Sophie Chu. Let's give them a big applause. Yeah, you guys can sit now. I explain to you why. If we were children, if I was children, I want to go back and become like each one of you. I know, Sophie, you really help out your family and your dad, and not only being a top student, you have compassion for those people that needs help. I really commend that. It's good to start at young age. Mr. James Houston, I want you to become the next president of the United States so that our country will be greater than today. That's the reason you guys were able to stand up before us. Now, looking at the hot topic, yes, Mrs. Blair was right. I had that sex education when I was little, okay? No problems, had no problems. Now, second, when there's a smoke going on, there's a fire somewhere, okay? Now, if sex education was okay, why there's a drive to change that? There's an ulterior motive from Sacramento. I'll tell you that for a fact. It is perversive. When you look at the recommended textbooks, look at the truth. You look at the drawings. Yes, I don't know if we were going to adopt those textbooks here, if we would get a choice, but it is a perversion. It's about taking down family value. It's making, like, let's call sun a moon, moon a sun. Why do we need to teach that to our children? Many of us decided, and our parents have decided, to come to this country for what reason? Educating our children, righteousness, and building stronger family value. Yes, you need to own the possession of your influence and what you have, and give everything to protect your kids. We'll do the same thing here. We have great staffs. We understand our family value. I pray and I do my best personally to block that, but it is a drive from Sacramento. It's a perversion, totally wrong. If sex education was fine for us, and I'm over 50 years old, why do we need to change that? Okay, it's like you got a perfect good restaurant, it's been working for 40 years, why would they change the menu? Okay, so now off from the tough topic, is Martin here, Severa? No? Oh yes, thank you, you can get up too. He was our head chef, and he really provided a meal for hundreds of our CSA members, maintenance department, and he'd take it personally, and even his wife showed up to support our staff members. So thank you for being a good servant leader, Martin. Thank you. And our Booster Club, so proud of you. Thank you, new president. I still don't know your name. I forget. I have a 5 minutes memory span. So that's why I need to go play bingo. It's going to help me. But thank you for what you're doing, and continue to serve our students. I'm proud of you. and CSA Chino 102 scholarship event. They had a whole bunch of old cars, antique cars, and many motorcycles too. But it really brought our staff together for good cause. They spent all day serving the members, and people actually was taking pictures of these cars. And cars that I could have seen on TV, but they were there, and it created a great result. And I think our district should do our best to really support next year's event. So I'd like to thank all the leadership at CSA. And they also cooked for luncheon. That was at a professional building for special ed aides. And I think it was Tuesday. They were serving luncheon for all the members who attended the class. And also Dr. Enfield and Mr. Rideout. Dr. Enfield paid for full luncheon on one day. And Mr. Rideout really went there and cooked with them. So we have two cooks here, Martin and Rich. So thank you tonight. Let's give them a hand too. We had great graduations. I was able to hear Mr. Bob Nelson from Townsend, awesome speech. John Miller from Chino Hills High School. Dr. Kim Cabrera from Don Lugo High School. Mrs. Isabel Brenes from Chino Hills High School. Mrs. Diana Yarboy from Ayala High School. Mr. Kyle Schuler from Buena Vista. And Mr. Carl Hampton from Adult School. All parents were proud of them, and I was also proud of them. The only person we haven't heard a speech from was Dr. Enfield, but one of these days, I think, he get to speak in our commencements. I'd like to pray for our board members, especially Ms. Blair and her son. And we're here for all together in this journey. We can say it's a long journey, but it could be also a short journey. But yes, we're here for our children, and that makes us keep together because we have the same vision. So I would close this meeting at 8:23.